by ProWrestlingPick'em.com right here on the Eastern Observer and the Blackjack Media Networks. Al, we're in a lot better shape than we were last week. We have a logo.
We got a logo. This is good news. Progress.
We had
in Canada, progress.
Yeah, we had some interaction. We got to know some of our fans a little bit. People joined the Essential Wrestling Podcast pool on the website.
I did see that. Yes, I'm in dead last in it, so we're doing good.
I think we have about 8 people in there, including us. So let's try to match that this week. We had quite the week in wrestling.
Yes, we did, and we're gonna cover some of these things today. We got on today's episode, we Otis and Asuka's Big Money in the Bank wins. We're gonna get to them probably sooner than later. Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Adam Cole, all three champions retained their titles in the past week. In AEW news, the Inner Circle's in full force. We'll touch on that. Rhea Ripley, we just talked about her. Where was she? She came back. We'll talk about that. This mystery hacker on SmackDown. We'll get into that. Tyler, you have some theories. You did some investigative reporting. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. We got 2 tag team championship matches coming up in the next couple days. But Tyler, I think we have to curtain jerk this show with the biggest thing that has happened. Last night on Monday Night Raw, our Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, came out, revealed that she is an expecting mother. Congratulations to Becky Lynch and to Seth, and we're assuming it's Seth. Congratulations to the both of them. Seth, and the reason why I'm saying that is Seth didn't look too enthusiastic at all. I know he was in character and has to play a character here, but I figured that'd be pretty funny where he shot for that reason.
You think he needed good.
So there's a little bit of a change in the Raw Women's Championship, as Becky Lynch announced. Asuka, who won the Women's Money in the Bank match, is now our new champion. The Money in the Bank match was not for a number one contender. It wasn't a number one contender. It wasn't worth for a title match at any given point in time. It was just for the actual championship. So Asuka is our new Raw Women's Champion, and they had a nice little moment on Raw last night. So we lose Becky Lynch. We gain Asuka as champion. Now, Tyler, in our pre-production meeting, you weren't too happy with this. So I gotta just assume that you were the one that wanted to be the father of Becky Lynch's child, right? That's why you're upset.
All right, I should
clarify. Because Asuka's champ. That's impossible.
All right, I want to clarify because before an angry mob finds where I live. I'm not angry that she can't compete, physically. There is a child in the body. I just think that they could have, just with the TV time they have now and the way they've been running things, or the way they could have run things, I think they could have had a tournament for the title and left the briefcase alone. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
It's kind of just, it's weird. It almost kind of like, I would have almost preferred, like, how do I make this make sense? If Asuka wins the match, the Money in the Bank match, I would have rather just Becky Lynch unexplainably walked out to the roof of the headquarters, handed her the title, and just leave everybody kind of like, what just happened?
Okay.
And I don't want to say leave you wanting more the next day, because if she just hands her the title and leaves without saying a word, people are going to watch to find out what that's about. But I just don't. It just devalued the briefcase for me for the night.
Okay. So you're having a tournament now, Tyler. That's my magic word. I love tournaments. I love brackets. Bring back the King of the Ring. Start a Queen of the Ring tournament. I'm all about that as well.
Yes.
We'll discuss these another time, because I do want to get your feelings on actually the Cruiserweight tournament, because there's a different style there. But do you put Asuka in the tournament then? Or do you have Asuka winning the tournament? Like, where's your brain going with this then? Because how?
So I feel like they could have done it multiple ways. They could have put her in the tournament. It wouldn't have made a ton of sense, being that she had the Money in the Bank contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it's one, there's so many. I just feel like there's so many different ways they could have done it in a sense of, you could have it lead to an unsuccessful cash in, which wasn't going to happen. I mean, look, the way we were talking about Asuka last week, even though I didn't predict her winning the ladder match, we both agreed that she is the MVP of the.
Yeah, like I was absolutely thrilled that she won, and I'm even happier that it was for the belt. Like, I am 100% okay with this because I think she would have won a tournament. And to tell you the truth, I'm actually happy that it's not in the tournament and they did it this way, only because you kind of want to figure the finals of that tournament would have been Asuka versus Shayna Baszler, and I think we're just going to get right to that anyway. Because Shayna's character, I almost fell out of my chair. I was laughing so hard with Shayna's interview about Becky Lynch's pregnancy. That was pretty harsh, but that's just who Shayna Baszler is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think they're going to go through this and they're going to roll it through SummerSlam. You have to. Like, they're the best two. Maybe throw Nia in there every once in a while. I wouldn't mind actually seeing that triple threat match again because they had the triple threat 2 weeks ago between Asuka, Baszler, and Nia Jax. And I was actually really excited for that. And it ended up being a no contest. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that too. I know the fans in the audience were upset. But they... But I think a loss would have been detrimental at that point for the three of them who are in that, being the top three, not named Becky Lynch on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset that she has the title. Like I said,
No, you can't.
No, like I said, I didn't predict her winning the match. I didn't predict, I figured she was just going to float around with Kairi Sane for a little bit, maybe get back in the tag team mix. But she earned it. She's been
great.
She's pretty much borderline carried. You could almost argue half of the shows at some point with just dancing on ramps and rambling.
Yeah, she's been entertaining. Like last week when she was singing Nia Jax's theme music was great.
Yeah. So like that's what it's like. You watch Raw or SmackDown. You watch for 15, 20 minutes. You're starting to kind of fade out. You're losing a little interest, and then she comes bolting down the ramp doing something. She's keeping you entertained.
So Asuka joins a very elite list here, Ty. We talked about this in the pre-production meeting. She becomes the second woman to win the Grand Slam title. She won all four. Bayley did it earlier. Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and the tag titles.
Yep.
So Asuka's won all four of those. Bucket lists are checked. She's won everything. So she becomes the second ever Grand Slam champion. She joins the list, the first woman ever to win both the Money in the Bank ladder match and the Royal Rumble match, and she becomes the 9th person in history. The other 8 men that she joined: Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, Sheamus, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, John Cena, Edge, and Alberto Del Rio. That's a pretty who's who, minus Del Rio. That's a pretty who's who's list of professional wrestling in history.
Oh yeah. No,
so
for sure.
I think that's pretty cool. Good for her. So now we're gonna switch gears to the men's Money in the Bank side, and Otis. So here I was watching it live because you picked Baron Corbin and I picked AJ Styles. And they were at the top of that ladder. They unhooked, and I felt like it was me and you fighting for that briefcase, Ty. Like I felt like I was like, oh, it's just pulling, and then Corbin fell off, and then AJ Styles did his best Miracle of the Meadowlands impersonation, fumbles the briefcase, and there's Otis playing the part of Herm Edwards on the ground, and he is your winner. Yo, Mandy, I did it. It was a great moment. The most popular person at this point in time in that match won it. And so I don't know how people can be upset by Otis winning. I have no idea what they're going to do, Ty. I'm going to tune in Friday. I have absolutely no idea because I didn't think anybody from SmackDown was going to win this. Between Braun and Bray Wyatt in that feud, and then eventually Roman Reigns coming back, and now you're going to throw Otis into the mix. What are we doing here, Ty?
So, I mean, I was probably, as much as we all wanted Otis to win deep down, I was just as surprised as the next person when he actually did. obviously Elias comes in, smashes a guitar over Baron Corbin's back.
Yep.
The briefcase gets bobbled. I kind of figured as soon as I saw the briefcase in the air, I was like, they're going to pull some kind of swerve and Elias is going to pick that thing up. And I would have been just as happy with that.
That would have been.
But I also feel like that would have kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit, and they probably would have had to do another one of those ladder match redos like they had to do with the women's because of James Ellsworth.
Yep.
But I still would have been okay with it because I love Elias.
But he wasn't in the match though. I don't know. Like he could have picked up the briefcase and started hitting people with it. He wouldn't have been the winner.
Yeah, well, that's whether if he picks up the briefcase and leaves, or if he just like he just holds the briefcase. He's just kind of standing there looking around, and then he just goes and puts it on some random person's chest. Just with the it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see that.
Just with like the sole intent of screwing over Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care whose chest he put the briefcase on as long as it wasn't Baron Corbin's.
Yeah, that's Corbin messed him up, man.
Yeah, I mean, he almost killed him. Baron Corbin shouldn't have been in a ladder match Sunday night. He should have been in jail. He threw a man off of a thing. Well, then he also threw two people off of a building. So
yeah. So so it's. And by that case, I'm going to quote AJ Styles here. How does Randy Orton set a house on fire and get earned a title match at WrestleMania? This is welcome to the WWE universe. Randy Orton committed arson and got a championship match and won the WWE championship at WrestleMania. Okay, Baron Corbin throwing people off a roof, which only ended up being 6 feet, deep, which I know is big for Rey Mysterio, but.
Well, yeah, but anyway, briefcase gets bobbled. I see Otis, bear hug the briefcase. I probably lost my mind for a solid 5 minutes.
Yeah, I
was hyped.
Now, Ty, I gotta ask this question because he's a part of a tag team. Like, is there any reason why they just take a heaping dump on the whole point of the Money in the Bank briefcase and have Heavy Machinery challenge the New Day here?
So
that's not going to go over well.
So I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like, I think that cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase on a tag title, potentially. But it does seem as if that's the route they want to go. It seems odd, but at the same time, that's why I like it, because it's new. It's like something we haven't seen yet.
See this face? I just had an epiphany. I got it. All right, continue your thought. Go.
So yeah, it's something we haven't seen them do. Like we've never seen a briefcase cashed in on a United States title, an IC title, or the tag titles.
No. I don't even know if that's possible. Like, is that even what the contract states? And granted, I've never seen one of these contracts. I know for legal purposes they need to have one, but yeah. Why not go big? It's why would you? Why not go big? So
I think the thing is despite Otis's popularity right now because of his tie with Mandy Rose, Heavy Machinery is probably as a unit is probably one of the best things going on SmackDown right now. Overall, the whole company, they're fan favorites. They've been fan favorites for a while now.
Yeah.
So I see, and this is where the brain really gets working, because it's, is this going to set up a potential Otis heel turn against Tucker and go on his own singles way? Does he find a legitimate loophole to cash in on the tag titles? Does he have an unsuccessful cash in, screwed over by Mandy Rose, and that breaks them up? The story that they have Otis in right now, with the timing that they have the briefcase, there's so many possibilities that they could run this with.
Or here's my epiphany right now.
Okay.
Does he give the briefcase to Mandy Rose? She cashes in wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. Otis is a sucker like that. He loves her. He is in love with her. If she wants that briefcase, he will give her that briefcase.
That. Oh, I did not think of
that. Face I made while you were talking, that's when that hit me, just so you know. Like, I was listening, but I'm like, wait a minute, you just said me. Oh.
Yeah, I think I might have just made the same face. I did not think about that. They could.
Now, is that possible? You don't know. Like, is any of this? Otis is going to open up a Pandora's box here, I think.
I mean, I see.
Or you just straight up cash in on Braun. You know, that's always possible too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they are WWE is very good at making up their own rules as they go. Granted, it's their own company; they can do that.
Yeah, like the Seth Rollins disqualification on Monday last night. That was pretty. Each match had its own set of rules, huh?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like
Well, he did enter the match illegally.
He did. I don't know. It, like this, like I said, the door is open on so many different ways they can do this. It's like I'm going to sound like such a bad wrestling fan, but it's one of the first things I've been legitimately excited to see how it pans out.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the overall question: do you see Otis as Universal Champion at some point in time in the next 364 days?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I see it because
I like your definitiveness.
So I see it because he's that stereotypical big dude that Vince likes. You know, he likes his big dudes, his heavies. You know, I think maybe big in the wrong concept, but he does also like people with circumference.
Yeah, Otis has his own orbit. Yes.
Yes. I think he's got the different area codes from shoulder to shoulder. But he kind of fits that old school mold that Vince McMahon likes. You know, guys like he ain't Yokozuna's size, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Vince is the size freak.
But the thing is that obviously with the impending return of Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman's the champion right now. Bray Wyatt's in the title picture right now. It would be. I'm probably going to break your heart here, but it would be hard to see Miz or Morrison not in the title picture at some point.
Eventually.
You know.
Where Miz belongs.
It's just.
And Johnny Drip. He belongs in the world title picture too.
Well, that's why I think that's what this return is eventually leading to for him. I think he's going to finally get his moment. Who knows? But
right, so I don't see Otis. And here's why. If Otis becomes Universal Champion or any type of world champion, if I'm Kofi Kingston, I am pissed beyond belief.
How though?
Because all right, so Otis has the fans of the crowd, but when there were fans of the crowd, Otis was the favorite. Go Otis, go. It was the same thing with Kofi. Now, if Otis had an Otis Mania, if there was a crowd at that point in time, Otis is getting he's the heavy fan favorite right now, I believe, on both shows. He is the one person that I think everybody was attaching to. All right, and it took Kofi Kingston 11 years to do that. And it took Otis. It's Otis he got called up a year ago, right? Like it was last year's Mania Heavy Machinery got called up.
I think it was before that. I want to say almost.
I want to. I don't think so.
I think they both were in last year's Rumble, so I want to say around Rumble time.
I don't know.
But you know, here's the thing: it's like if I'm Kofi Kingston, I'm not pissed about it.
No, he will never be. But I'm just saying, if I was Kofi Kingston, like it took me 11 years to get the fans behind me the way that they did, and they're gonna give to Otis in a year. You know, like this is.
I understand that logic. It's one of those things though where when Kofi Kingston first got in, he ran with his singles. He had his little singles run.
Yeah, man.
Ran with CM Punk. Famously lost his Jamaican accent, which Triple H reminded everybody.
Yeah, that was funny.
Had a run with R-Truth, I believe. I don't want to say kind of disappeared into irrelevancy for a little while, but
Well, it's called ECW. That was his disappearance. Then he was in Air Boom, and then he was
Evan Bourne, yeah. But it's up until the New Day, he really wasn't doing anything for a while. Like there was no marketing value, I guess you could say, in this guy. Otis, well, Heavy Machinery in general, they're already pumping him out. Oh, he's pumping the company money. They are selling a lot of merch. They're actually top 15 in merch in the company right now for their shirt.
Heavy Machinery, Stakes and Weights.
They're top 15. And I think another thing, as crazy as it sounds, I think it definitely still plays a role, even with that old school mentality. I remember a couple of years ago, not a couple of years ago, last year, an article came out about Heavy Machinery still feeling like they needed to pay their dues. I don't know if you remember reading this. And they were still staying after Raws and SmackDowns and breaking down the ring and the stage before they left to go to the next city.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think that things like that definitely play a role in whether or not you're going to get your moment sooner than others. I'm not saying
they're both amateur wrestlers too. It's not like they're not legit. I mean, there's and they make Vince laugh. They make me laugh. They make everybody loves Otis. Everybody but me was rooting for Otis. To get Mandy Rose. I just whatever. I got a soft spot in my heart for Dolph Ziggler. But he makes Vince laugh. I think that's just kind of the bottom line here. He makes Vince laugh. R-Truth. He's going to sack Tom Brady to get the 24/7 championship back.
Well, that's the same thing. Everybody forgets look, if R-Truth didn't make Big Vinnie Mac laugh, he wouldn't still be here. But R-Truth is the 24/7 division. Like,
he's going to go back for it. And that's that. He had his match. He had a big win last night on Raw. Actually, he won that match. He pinned MVP.
Good.
And I guess we'll just mull over the rest of what happened at Money in the Bank real quick.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley came out to sub in for MVP. Beat up Truth, and then he came out, and then he beat up Truth again on Monday. So it looks like Lashley and MVP are together now. So MVP is forming his stable, and it is a stable because there's a manager with wrestlers.
That aggravated
Their MVP a manager that does wrestle, but they used the stable, and I'll get to that in a second once I get to the stable. And then we had Jeff Hardy with a great match, great win over Cesaro on the pre-show. That was incredible.
That was not a pre-show match, but it ended up on the pre-show.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they're cutting back on pay-per-view time without the audience there.
Was that the only one?
Logistical reasons they have for it. I'm not privy to the information. I'm not in those meetings, but
I'm not the only one who noticed that was the whole show was said and done by like 9:35, the latest.
I saw something that was the quickest show since Insurrection 2002. Yeah, that was over 9:30.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I'm not complaining because I was still able to, hang out, play some video games, watching TV before I went to bed. But it was like I looked at the clock. I'm like, all right, not 9:30. Yeah. All right, I guess I could squeeze in the Undertaker special.
yeah, exactly. I watched that one. So then
that was fantastic.
So then just rattle them off real quick. Braun Strowman defended. We both agreed on that. The New Day defended. We both agreed on that. Bayley defended. That was, you know what? I was sketchy at first with that. And then I saw Tamina got the win on Friday, and I felt pretty safe with my pick that Bayley was going to win on Sunday. Yep. She defended. Seth Rollins, on my end, came up short. My little devil's advocate theory didn't come true. So Tyler, you got the win on the show. You have more points than I do in the the Essential Wrestling Podcast pool. We're currently in first place, and I think there's 5 or 6 of us, or 7, however many.
Don't worry, I won't be in first place very long.
so
actually, I forgot. I promised I got a detour really quick, but I made a promise because Jason's watching us on a delay today.
Gotcha.
So I know Jason is a very good friend of ours from the Employment Cave.
All yours.
Yeah. Me and Jason were talking last night, and we had a little bit of a disagreement on the Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt match.
Okay.
He thought that it made the way they planned it made the Fiend almost look like an idiot, like he was stupid.
Fiend wasn't involved.
I'm sorry, Fiend. Bray Wyatt. I'm used to calling him the Fiend now. It took me so long to get used to calling him the Fiend, and then I call him the Fiend when he's not wrestling as the Fiend. I'm sorry, but he said it almost made Bray Wyatt look stupid.
Okay.
In a sense of like, Braun Strowman putting on his own mask and suckering.
He played the game with him.
But it was almost his argument was like, oh, where'd he get the mask from? You shouldn't have had the mask, stuff like that. And if Jason, well, was that?
Ray gave it to him.
That's what I said. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I told him, I was like, Jason, if you really think deep into it, whether Bray gave him the mask or he still had the mask on his own. And Jason, again, if I'm misquoting you, please don't beat me up. Technically, I told him, depending on how far back you want to go, Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt technically never split up. They were drafted to different brands.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So in theory, for Braun Strowman to still be in possession of the mask totally makes sense.
I thought they gave him the mask on a Moment of Bliss.
They reintroduced it. The whole thing is very weird to me. I'm still trying to figure. I watched the match back today. I'm still trying to figure out like what he's really trying to get at. Jason, not WWE. It's just I wanted to know if I was the only one who didn't think that Bray Wyatt looked dumb. I didn't think so.
He looked. I wouldn't say dumb. He wanted Braun to come home. The whole point was that he wanted Braun to come home. And Braun played the mind trick on him. And Bray thought he was coming home. All the puppets were out. The puppets were ecstatic that Braun put that mask on. Yay, Braun's coming home. Huskus. Did you see Huskus the pig? I have never seen Huskus the pig that happy. All right, before in my entire life. He was thrilled that Braun was coming home. And Braun swerved him. So, you know what? All you did was just wake up the Fiend.
Yeah, but that was my thing with him. I was like, the last time that Bray Wyatt wrestled and not the Fiend, it was kind of a joke too. Like it was, if I'm correct, he wrestled Daniel Bryan as Bray Wyatt last. And he was it the Miz? Yes, it was.
He had a pay-per-view match with the Miz.
Yes, because he brought in the whole family thing. And yeah that was interesting.
Yeah, he broke into his house.
Oh,
man.
I'm sorry. I think Daniel Bryan came in at the end of that match when he came back all clean cut and everything.
Yes, when he got dragged under the ring. Yeah.
So, the Fiend, when the Fiend is wrestling as Bray Wyatt, it's almost kind of like he's getting you to take his bait. Like it's supposed to be an easy win, or it's supposed to be him, for lack of a better term, him getting his ass kicked. But then it's like, okay, you want to play hardball, now you got to deal with the other guy.
Yeah,
I know.
All Bray wanted the title back. That was one thing, but that was the reason why he wasn't the Fiend in that match. This was Bray's fight, and Bray just wanted Braun home. Come home. Yeah. I created you. Just say you're sorry and come home. And that's what Bray thought he was doing. Now, whether that makes Bray look dumb, hopeful maybe. We've all been to that point where we wanted the girl to like us, and we think she does, and then she breaks her heart. It's if I don't want to use that analogy, but it's pretty much now Bray's got a broken heart because his creation that he thinks is creation didn't come home with him, and now he's going to unleash the Fiend on him and win back the title. Now we're going to hurt Braun and take the title.
Yeah, I don't know if you're hearing this in the background, but oddly enough, with perfect timing, every time you said Bray Wyatt, the cat had something to say about it. So we obviously have a Bray Wyatt fan here.
Nice. All right, so then last week, let's just so overall, actually, before we get to last Wednesday on both shows was holy crap. Overall feelings for Money in the Bank.
If I was to give the show an overall rating, I would be safe giving it 3.5 stars. I think the Bobby Lashley R-Truth thing kind of was like unnecessary. I get MVP way back when on his social media kind of like formally retired. So to expect, the thing is, as soon as they announce that match, it's kind of, something is up because he's technically formally retired, but obviously in WWE, being retired doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I had this was the whole thing was just Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. I thought I was going to see Shane Thorne on Sunday. I was so excited he was making his pay-per-view debut.
I just think that match was. I get what they were trying to do as far as pairing MVP and Bobby Lashley together, which I believe one of us called in the last few weeks, whether it was on or off camera. But if that's truly what they're going with, MVP has his big guy, his enforcer.
Yeah.
The ladder match, the co-ed ladder match. I gave that a straight 5 stars. They are doing so well with these. The cinematic matches, they're 3 for 3. I got Brother Love. I got the Doink the Clown Imposter.
The Vince segment. Yeah, how about Doink out of nowhere?
Yeah, I got a Paul Heyman food fight. I got a Vince McMahon moment, which, again, I was talking to a couple of the people, and I'm like, dude, they were at the WWE headquarters. You didn't think they were going to find their way into Vince McMahon's office? You're insane.
Yeah, well, Daniel Bryan referenced that on SmackDown. And I was like, oh, that's right, the dinosaur head. Got to see the dinosaur head.
Yeah, so, again, that match, they're 3 for 3 in cinematic matches. Yep. But as far as the cinematic matches go, do you think that once you can get crowds back in the building and obviously you get that interaction with the fans back again, do you think fans are going to respond the same way to the cinematic matches, or do you think they're going to turn on them real quick?
The people at home will be fine with them. The people in the arena are going to turn on it real quick. That match, they're going to have to kill the audio in the arena.
Yeah.
For that match to be played out, because they will be booing. And I think that's what they had to do at the Raw 25th anniversary. Every time they went over to the Manhattan Center, they booed. And every time the people at the Manhattan Center had to go to Barclays, the Manhattan Center, it can't. You can get away with backstage stuff just because they'll fight their way back.
Well, they make their way through the
arena at some point, but I can't see that. Is it the only way you're gonna be an arena crowd is gonna be okay? And I'm I'm not even 100% sure that they'll be okay with this. If you can get Undertaker and Sting and put it in a cinematic match, that would be awesome. And I don't think a live crowd would mind watching that one match as much as they probably would want to see it in person. But I think that match in person would be absolutely god-awful, and it would kill both of their legacies, because I know Taker's really big on that now, watching his documentary. And rightly so. So that's I think that's going to be the only exception to this rule. I think once crowds are back, I think this is done.
I'm going to agree. I think that the live crowd is going to kill the cinematic match. I don't think we'll see it go away permanently. I think it will come back from time to time, but I don't think they'll do it on a pay-per-view scale. They might do it on a Raw or a SmackDown scale. I think putting The Undertaker and Sting, just as your example, in a cinematic match like that is really playing with fire.
They might, yeah.
Well,
that match, they might play with fire.
Well, yeah, I mean, excuse me. So it's like Undertaker and Sting are something people have been clamoring for I don't know, how old am I? 24? Probably about 24 years now. Maybe longer, maybe less. I don't know. I think if you give people that match and they're like, hey, we're going to give you Undertaker Sting, but it's going to be pre-recorded at the end of TLC on the big screen, I think people would go berserk.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you. Actually, I take back what I said. I agree with you that I think they will try it. It's not going to work, though. They're going to try it once. And you're right. It might only be a Raw. It might only be a SmackDown. Let's just hope it's that.
Like I said, I can see them continue to do it, but they won't be able to do. They're not going to be able to get away with doing it as frequently as they are now.
No.
So as far as the cinematic matches go, I see like the Firefly Funhouse being the sole surviving, no pun intended, cinematic match going forward. Almost like Bray Wyatt just picking into people's heads, because it doesn't even have to be a match. It's just got to be like a 10-minute spot of just messing with a guy. You could use it as a way to kill him off TV,
Yeah.
So there's
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, like they got options.
All right, so yeah, Money in the Bank, 3.5 stars from Tyler. I'm gonna give it 13 stars just because I like this. I like being 10 stars better than you. So, all right, so Tyler, we'll go back to this past Wednesday. What a Wednesday it was in both NXT and AEW. We'll do NXT first because that was the one that you kind of hyped up. I didn't know the AEW show was going to be as good as it was, but we did hype the crap out of NXT on Wednesday.
We did.
We saw Killer Cross's debut, and you can tell that Triple H is all in on carrying. I call him Killer Cross, carrying Cross. Sorry, I was gonna take some getting used to.
Yes.
He's all in on carrying Cross and Scarlett. Did you see that entrance? That was pretty wild. That was awesome.
I actually missed the entrances. I made it back in time for the match.
Well, okay. Carrying when he squashed the guy, right? I mean, it was Leon Ruff, right? Wasn't it Leon Ruff again, our buddy?
I'll fact check you.
He's my new favorite. He's my new favorite enhancement talent is Leon Ruff, and then apparently he's actually dating the one female referee, not the one on SmackDown, but the one on NXT. So that's actually a nice little. She actually called that match. She refereed that match, carrying Cross's match with Leon Ruff.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Ty, go back, watch that entrance. Triple H is all in on carrying Cross, and you know what? Tommaso Ciampa's in trouble. Ciampa is in trouble. Ciampa's going down.
Yeah, he's definitely got something to worry about. I don't want to. Would you almost consider it like a passing of the torch in the NXT as far as who's going to be the next?
No, because they'll circle around again. They'll circle around again, and Ciampa will get him. No, this is just strictly carrying Cross is going to go on a tear in the beginning.
Oh yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna have some fun with you because I wanted to ask you this last week, but I think it's pretty obvious that carrying Cross will be an NXT champion.
Okay.
Depending on how, obviously Triple H is very behind him. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a number. You give me the over or under. Straight up football. Okay. 120 days till he becomes NXT champion. Over or under?
No, it's going to take more than 4 months.
Think so?
Oh, yeah. Adam Cole's going to have it for the next 120 days. He's not fighting Adam Cole.
Okay.
He'll beat Balor. How about this? We came across last week. It'll be Balor the ones that takes it from Cole. Yeah, then Karrion Kross will take it from Balor. Then there we go. We just figured out the whole NXT title picture. And then it'll circle back around to Karrion Kross and Ciampa. Then Ciampa gets it from Kross. Then Kross gets called up, and Vince ruins his career. I mean, I'm sorry. Never mind. Did I just say that?
No,
he fires Karrion Kross and keeps Scarlett Bordeaux around to marry somebody else.
No, we just did about 18 months worth of storytelling in about 2.5.
We gotta start doing this. Write this down. We gotta start writing this stuff down because we're not gonna be able to go back into the archives. Well, we can because all the archives will be on YouTube. All of our episode archives will be on ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. So actually getting that work done right now. But yeah, we got Karrion Kross winning the world title after. It's going to be Cole, Balor, Kross, and back to Ciampa. And if you want to put me down for Becky Lynch winning next year's Money in the Bank, you can put me down for that too.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with that. Another thing me and Jason spoke about. It almost, the way she kind of presented herself on social media after her announcement almost kind of made it look like a borderline retirement.
She ain't retiring. No way.
I don't think so either.
Steph's going.
No.
There's no way she's retiring. If she's not going to give up the one thing she loves to do and then let her husband do it or her fiance. They were supposed to be married this month, and I guess it got canceled. I read an article, whatever, today.
Yeah, the COVID-19 pandemic pushed everything.
Yeah. Well, my wedding's still going on, so why couldn't they get married? Am I better than Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
The Messiah doesn't have his.
But no, I say the baby due somewhere. Let's say let's do math here. Let's go 9 months from now. That brings us to right around the Royal Rumble. She's gonna need time to train, unless they put her in Mania right away to fight Shayna Baszler again because of Baszler's comments. I don't know. They left that door wide open.
Yes, they did.
Shayna Baszler saying the baby's gonna suck.
Have you seen the father? That baby's gonna suck.
That was so funny. Baby's gonna suck.
I mean,
but so I don't know if you redo that match at Mania or is but yeah, she's gonna get a title run after that. So I'm just put me down for Becky Lynch next year's Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think you definitely. Well, forget Money in the Bank. I think you can almost pencil her in as depending on her pregnancy, how far along she already is. I don't know how far into her pregnancy she is, but you're probably looking at your first surprise entrant for the Rumble next year.
She's got to get back in shape, Ty. You say you go hypothetically. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt here that she was not pregnant at WrestleMania, all right? Because first of all, that would have been a disqualification. That would have been a 2-on-1 handicap match. That's not fair to Shayna Baszler. All right. So second, okay, let's just assume that she's not pregnant at WrestleMania. So let's say like mid-April she found out. You got to go 9 months from there. That puts you December, January. There's no way she's going to be in ring shape in time for the Rumble. And if she is, she's going to have. I've never been pregnant before. I cannot say it's been a dream of mine to be pregnant, but I don't know how long it's going to take to lose the weight from a pregnancy. I mean, it's not going to be something she's not going to want to go on television and it's going to be a much anticipated return. Like people are already missing Becky Lynch, and it's been day one. All right, I can't imagine her going back in a month after a pregnancy in a Royal Rumble.
So I'm going to give you your moment here, so pay attention.
Were we talking about NXT? Yeah, go.
We were. Depending on what you read online, it is generally believed that she did wrestle pregnant at WrestleMania. Okay. This is the part where you say that's how rumors start.
That's how rumors start.
There you go.
I wasn't, Tyler, unless you were there holding the stick under her hoo-ha for her to pee on, nobody knows when she was pregnant. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You got to think she would use best judgment and not wrestle if she was pregnant. I don't know. Maybe was the kid wearing a helmet in there? I don't know how it works, Ty. I'm 40 years old, Tyler, and I just honestly don't know how the female reproductive system works.
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so
let's get back to NXT. This is weird.
Yeah, so we'll touch on 2 more things from NXT last week before we go to AEW. Rhea Ripley came back after the match between Charlotte Flair and Io Shirai, the NXT Women's Championship match. Yep. Charlotte got herself disqualified. I'm not sure if that went over well with anybody, but honestly, you'd like to see a winner, but the only thing that this is going to do is drag it on, which I'm completely okay with Charlotte and Io fighting for the next few months. But now you're going to throw Rhea Ripley into the picture, and she came out, she helped Io Shirai. Io wanted nothing to do with Rhea, so we got 3 women right now, 3 of the top women in NXT at each other, and this can't mean this is going to be good things.
Yeah,
right? The purpose of this qualification was to introduce Charlotte Flair, right? Not Rhea Ripley. So I get why they did it now in hindsight. But this is going to be a positive. They said you got the 3 of these women. It's going to be great.
No, they got so many possibilities they could run with. One that actually ran my mind, which I think would be interesting, and I think if anybody can pull it off, it's the NXT crew. Potentially a triple threat women's Iron Women match.
Those 3 can do it.
If there's any 3 that can do it, it's them.
Those 3 can do it 100%.
Yeah. I would pay my $9.99 a month to watch that.
Yeah. What was they said? We don't even see now the whole thing. This is how rumors start. Everything that's going on in Boston. So I don't even know when Takeover is going to happen in Boston. So we don't even know when the next takeover is going to be. That would be perfect takeover quality, especially in the first event back in in a huge arena. But like I said, the mayor of Boston is not allowing fans till after Labor Day, so now we're back to square one with SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, I see. If most other states are going to lift their rules or guidelines with having fans in the buildings, I definitely see SummerSlam being moved. I think if there's an opportunity to have fans in the building for arguably his third biggest show of the year, depending on how much you like the Rumble, if he has the opportunity to have fans in the building, he'll move SummerSlam if he has to.
Yeah.
So I don't think that weekend is in total jeopardy yet. But I mean, who knows? Because we only found out Sunday night what the pay-per-view for June was, Backlash.
Yeah. You don't know going forward. I don't want to speculate at SummerSlam yet, but that would be a nice way to get back into it.
So, I mean, everything right now just seems it's literally everything at a day-to-day basis, which is understandable.
So that'll bring us to the Cruiserweight tournament. Kushida and Akira Tozawa commanding 2-0 leads in their groups. I don't know what tournament matches are going to be this Wednesday, but we'll do a quick preview because we know what the last matchups are. And the reason why I want to give this a little bit of time here is because this could possibly be Drake Maverick's last match, and it will be against Kushida. And I want this to be awesome. I don't think there's going to be a doubt in anyone's mind that Kushida's winning this, but that's not the purpose of this match to me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more that goes into the match. Forget about advancing.
Is there a way Drake Maverick saves his job after these 3 matches?
I think, the 2, soon to be 3 matches that Drake Maverick has put on throughout this whole tournament. I mean, look, he's sitting at 1-1. Obviously, he's right there on the fence with elimination. Obviously, the general consensus is he loses, because that came from him, literally the source, that he was going to finish out his 3 matches.
And the old wrestling tale, you always go out on your back, and let's say regardless, there it is. That's not a word. Regardless of everything else, looking at these groups, you had Kushida at 3-0 anyway. You're kind of hoping that and then it didn't come down to Kushida with Drake Maverick last, so he didn't root for the 3-0, whatever. Drake Maverick could win. I didn't have him beating Tony Nese. That was huge upset to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he beat Tony Nese. Like, Tony Nese, former champion, the premier athlete. Dude, Tony Nese is the man. Like, he's Cruiserweight Classic, tournament competitor. Tony Nese, I don't know if that was Drake's swan song right there. That was his last win. If that's what it is, great.
Yeah, but it puts it in kind of perspective of it. That's a big win for Drake Maverick.
Huge win.
So, it's one of those. Do you think that his? I don't want to call it a sob story. I think that's kind of mean. But do you think? Do you think his farewell video that pretty much went viral, and then on top of the 2 fantastic matches he's produced right now, you think that might have been enough to maybe?
I hope so.
I hope so too, but it's.
Well, here's the thing: is like, obviously, the week after WrestleMania, it seems like it's kind of like the week after football ends, all the coaches get fired. It seems like they release people all the time, and this year was a little more severe because of the situation in the world. Nobody wants to see anybody fired. I didn't want to see any one of those guys go. Nobody wants to see Zack Ryder go. Nobody wanted to see Anderson and Gallows go. Anybody, all the way down to Heath Slater and whoever, and Deonna Purrazzo. That broke my heart. I Spy a Jersey Girl on that release list, Ty. I mean, that was not good.
Yeah.
My heart broke just as much as yours did with your Long Island guys getting released too. Nobody wants to see these guys. I would love to have Drake Maverick back, and I'm sure he would sign whatever contract. Drake, you have to clock in, and you're getting minimum wage. I'm in. I'm sure he wouldn't mind doing it. So
yeah, it's hard to find. It's not hard to find people who, love the business, but it's definitely hard to find people who love the business the way Drake Maverick does.
Yeah, and he's been around for a while. God knows what he did over in England, in the UK. But as Rockstar Spud in Impact, he was great when he was running around with EC3. I think he was a former X Division champion.
Yeah,
I mean, Drake always was able to go, but he was also always more. I don't want to say it was more entertaining than athletic, because I don't think that's true at all, because he's very athletic, but he was more on the entertainment side because of his stature and his comedic timing,
Yeah, I think Drake Maverick is, from a working standpoint, he's definitely the definition of the, you tell me to jump, I'll say how high guy.
Yeah. 100%.
So I'm
going through, I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm saying I'm pulling for him this week, but I'm expecting.
No, we had Kushida. As I said, we had Kushida. It's got to be. Like I said, you always go out on your back. Mick Foley always taught us that, right? And that's what Bret Hart never learned. Bret screwed Bret. He didn't go out on his back.
Well, technically,
he didn't want to. Yeah, you're hearing all this stuff later. Yeah, he didn't want to. Sean disrespected me. Anyway, that's a different story.
Bret Hart technically went out on his chest, upper body area. Sharpshooter. But...
Oh, Bret, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would put Kushida at 3-0.
Yep.
And that'll win him the group, making the Jake Atlas, Tony Nese match, kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
In the standings, so we don't need to get into that. Group B. This is where I feel like Kushida winning is even more prevalent, the word. Because I can see by looking at the standings and the matchups and how the tiebreakers are, like, we're going to have a 3-way tie with Tozawa, Isaiah Scott, and the Ihoa Phantasma all being 2-1. At the end of this, with Jack Gallagher doing the ultimate job with the new tattoos, going 0-3, which is unfortunate because Jackie Boy's good.
Yeah,
so he's happy with that. But you got Tozawa and Phantasma. So if Phantasma beats Tozawa, that puts those two at 2-1, with Phantasma having the tiebreaker. But then if Isaiah Scott beats Jack Gallagher, that puts Scott at 2-1 with the tiebreaker over Phantasma. But then Tozawa has the tiebreaker over. We got to have a triple threat tiebreaker here. I think that's where we're going with this.
I think that
that's where I think that's where we were getting at last week, where we knew that this group had Bleep Show written all over it.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's set up that way. If Gallagher wins, that would make the winner of the Tozawa Phantasma match the group winner to fight Kushida.
I think it's more than likely that it turns into a triple threat situation. I just think it's it's just boring to have two guys go 3-0 and then clash. Like, spice it up a little bit, like a triple threat, like me. Because you take away records for a second, you ignore the 2-0s and the 1-1s. All three of those guys in a triple threat match together, I'd have a hard time picking a winner.
No, I don't.
I mean, for me, I would personally pick as like who I would want to win. I would pick Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Okay.
I think it's more likely that Akira Tozawa ends up winning anyway.
He's doing some work, huh? He's on Raw every week getting beat up, then going and winning cruiserweight tournament matches on Wednesdays.
Tozawa's
doing some work lately.
But yeah, and that's why I would lean more towards him realistically winning. Outside of my pick, it's another guy right now I don't want to say picking up slack, but he's working. He's working Raw, working NXT, he's working this tournament. He's I don't even know what the way to say it is. He's doing more than what he needs to do. I'm sure he's being asked to be on Raw, but it's. Look, you work hard.
To work. He works for a living. He's there to work.
You work hard, you get rewarded. Straight, it's simple as that.
Okay, so that pretty much will do it. Finn Balor is going to call out his attacker. Well, he did call out his attacker. He ended up landing on Cameron Grimes, who was not his attacker, but go Grimy. I'm a Grimy fan. How about you?
I'm a Grimy fan.
I'm a Grimy fan. See, no, Trevor Lee and Empathy, again, going back to Impact. I was so excited when they signed Cameron Grimes. Anyway. So that'll be the match for this Wednesday coming up, along with possible some tournament title matches. The NXT tag title match we'll get to a little bit when we do our picks at the end. Shifting gears to AEW. They took, I don't know if you remember my thing the other day. Actually, I think it was the last segment we were on with the Primetime Rundown. We were talking about where they were doing their stuff in Jacksonville. They moved it from the indoor facility to the outdoor auditorium, right? Because it's the music place. The music is kind of like the shell, like the seashell.
Right. And
it was really cool. It was a beautiful day in Florida. The sun was shining in the beginning, and then it slowly set to it. I love it when they do that at WrestleMania. You know, when it starts out sunny, and then eventually, you have the night atmosphere. I think that's great. Honey of a show. Absolutely honey of a show. MJF was in attendance. That was probably the biggest thing I took from it. He's okay. The neck brace is off. His arm sling is off. He looks to be as close to 100% as you can get, and he'll be in ring tomorrow night.
Good. AEW show tomorrow is pretty loaded. They're gonna have a good show tomorrow night.
Yeah. Yep. And in the inner circle, we'll start off. I guess the main event of tomorrow night will be Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega versus Santana Ortiz, and that's stemming off the spectacular. What was the name of the match? Whatever street fight. It wasn't a street fight. What was the name of the?
No, it was a street fight last week. It was Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega versus
they didn't have some kind of fun name. It wasn't. It was just a street fight. I don't remember.
They might have had some dumb gimmicky.
I can't remember the name of the exact name of the match, but that was incredible.
I think it was just a Dynamite street fight.
But yeah, that might have been it too. But that they did everything that I thought Moxley and Hager were going to do in their world title match when they had, but they didn't have the accessibility for it. They only had the indoor section. They went everywhere, and then Santana and Ortiz came out at the end. They got the win. The inner circle is back in full force, and they let you know it at the end when they had the name on the Jacksonville Jaguar scoreboard, and they told every single one of us what they thought of us, Ty.
Yes, they
what do you think?
The inner circle is probably one of the better things they have going for them right now. It's nice to see them all, I guess you could say, back together.
Yeah, well, they were doing the Bubbly Bunch episodes together because they were all in quarantine. I think Santana and Ortiz were caught up in New York.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's kind of being held captive all over the place. It's just the timing worked out very well for them all to be back together, obviously, with Double or Nothing next Saturday. So, I mean, it's the same thing with all forms of pro wrestling. It's just, let's see where they bring it from here. And everything they've done with the inner circle so far, I feel like personally they've gotten it right. So,
your feelings of Matt Hardy getting locked in the ice chest and coming out as whatever his broken name is, it's like Demogorgon, because that's the thing from Stranger
Frozen
Things.
Matt Hardy.
Frozen Matt Hardy. He came out as Elsa.
That was interesting.
I love that Kenny Omega. Was it Kenny Omega did the backflip off the scissor lift? That was pretty cool.
That was a nice spot.
Here's the thing. For a normal person, that was a 5-star moonsault, but the fact that it was Kenny Omega, that was at least 15 stars. I mean, that's just Kenny Omega just makes everything that much.
Yeah, no, he does. Yeah, I mean, it's Kenny Omega. Nothing he does surprises me anymore.
No, yeah.
It's like,
so that's what they have. Yeah, they're gonna get the revenge on Santana and Ortiz, who came back, interfered during the match. Brody Lee came out, challenged, and actually stole the AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley.
And that's
that match will main event Double or Nothing for the AEW World Title. I enjoyed this match as the curtain jerk of Extreme Rules about a couple years ago, where they fought off in the ambulance in the first match, and then they came back before the main event in the ambulance and finished the fight. I thought that was really entertaining. These two work well together. I'm excited for this.
Well, they, Brody Lee and John Moxley, you probably know because you're a wrestling encyclopedia, but some people, a couple of people I brought it up to, a lot of people apparently don't know that they go back as far as their CZW days.
I'm sure. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, no, they were big. They were like one of the bigger draws for CZW at the time. It was almost kind of like, have you seen the CM Punk documentary, Best in the World?
No, I have not.
They touch up on him and Colt Cabana running around the independents.
Okay.
They were basically the CM Punk and Colt Cabana for CZW, just running around the country doing matches 4 nights a week. But speaking of Colt Cabana, he's the second man in the casino ladder match the next Saturday.
Yes, and after we got off after we finished our pre-production meeting earlier, they added Orange Cassidy as well. So they have 3 guys in the casino Money in the Bank ladder match, which we'll get into hopefully more details next Wednesday in our Double or Nothing Pick'em segment. Just like we did for Money in the Bank this past Tuesday, we will be doing the same thing. We are not biased to WWE. We like AEW as well. I know Tyler and I, we've talked about branching off more into other promotions, and hopefully when if we ever have the time to actually watch that much wrestling, we hopefully will be able to. I would like to get back into Impact again and Ring of Honor. And but yeah, so then that'll lead us to actually before we get off the AEW subject, big match tomorrow night. The grudge match that has been forming and pretty much bubbling over as we speak, bubbling over for the past couple weeks now. The feud between Jericho and Pineapple Pete will come to a head tomorrow night on Dynamite, and I can't wait for this. This better be the main event. Actually, this should be the main event and not the tag team match.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. I mean, if you kind of look at the card and like a basic kind of breakdown of it, it almost seems as if the Brody Lee confrontation is probably going to kick off the show. From there, they'll probably jump right into the Christopher Daniels match, so that takes them away from even coming close to the main event, which would have been kind of gross.
Okay, I got a question for I forgot what is Pineapple Pete's name? His name is not Pineapple Pete. That's what Jericho named him. That's a Jericho name.
His name is Shug D.
Shug D. Thank you. That's right. I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, and there's no reason that match shouldn't be main eventing the show. I think these matches to go, but
no, that match is not. Tyler, I was joking. That match, I don't see that match main eventing. I'm blowing it up for the sake of Jericho's brilliant commentary. And actually, the Pineapple Pete or Shug D slapped him after they slapped one of them slapped the other on their Jericho's entrance on Wednesday, if I remember correctly.
It's just you when you say Chris Jericho and main event in the same sentence, it's no matter who he's fighting, it's wrestling. It's justifiable. So,
all right, Ty. So this is the point I've been waiting for. Before we get into the picks, which isn't going to be a lot. I know we discussed a lot already. The mystery hacker from SmackDown. I'm all ears. You said you have theories. You did some investigating. I have my ideas. Not really based off of anything other than who's been off TV lately. I'm officially at the edge of my seat right now, Tyler. The floor is yours.
Okay. Like I said before in our pre-production meeting, it's you got to bear with me. I don't know if I have the greatest TV service. I might be seeing things. I also just might be sleep deprived. I kind of got to go CM Punk.
Why?
I know I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely crazy. Okay. So one of the things that was a small detail to me, which doesn't matter, but dude, the hoodie.
Okay.
One of the smallest details I picked up on that hoodie, if you go back to anything CM Punk related from 2000 mid 2012, early 2013 to 2014, when he was regularly wearing a hoodie to the ring, his black hoodie, sweatshirt strings were white.
Okay.
They had one shot of him where they kind of like you couldn't see his face. He was kind of like tucked up in his hoodie, almost like this. But they had it from the side.
You know what, Tyler? This is great, Tyler. Visual aid, yes. Reenact the whole thing for me. Go for it.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. This is my tryout for cinematic matches. So it's like they had him looking at his computer kind of like this, but I noticed the white string, and I'm like, I guess at first I thought nothing of it. I didn't care, but I was like, they were replaying one of the old pay-per-views on the network that I just happened to be watching, and I gotta brush my hair. I gotta look gorgeous.
National audience guy.
I noticed
we're going viral.
I noticed the sweatshirt, and I'm like, okay. Something I'll think about. Another thing I kind of picked up on, and this is where the whole poor TV quality comes in, and correct me if I'm wrong, were this individual's hands, were they or were they not tattooed?
I will go back and look at that. I did not see tattoos. I have
really
Caucasian
bad
hand. I know a lot of the rumors. I know Punk's been a rumor. I don't know if I started that or not, because I remember the first time I saw this hacker, I nudged my fiance like, "Oh my God, maybe it's CM Punk," jokingly, thinking it was no shot in hell that this is CM Punk. Everyone's saying Mustafa Ali. That this is a very Caucasian looking hand, and I don't know the exact nationality and or whatever.
I believe he's a Muslim.
Mustafa Ali is. I don't think it's him. Right now, here's the potential. The potential rumored candidates. These are the big four people that everyone's thinking it is. It's Mustafa Ali, Chad Gable, Xavier Woods, which again, same as Mustafa Ali, I don't think it can be Xavier Woods, and CM Punk. I can't imagine it being CM Punk if they're selling stocks now and they're firing all these guys and they're doing whatever they can to save money. Punk's gonna run them through the mill.
Yeah.
On a contract. Like, they are going to have to pay CM Punk a ton of money.
Oh, it's going to make
any. I guarantee you he's going to ask for 1 cent more than what Brock Lesnar's making. That's just knowing who Punk is and sharing the same birthday as him. Yes, he's a fellow 1026er. It's the only reason why I really tolerate him. I'm not the biggest Punk fan. I don't not like Punk, but I'm not gaga over Punk as everybody else is. I just don't see. He doesn't have the contract with his contract's with Fox. It's not.
No, you're 100%
you know what
right.
I'm saying? I can't. Unless Fox is going to help Vince pick up some of the contract to put Punk on Friday nights because it's a Fox station. I guess there's ways around it. I just can't imagine.
So those are things I definitely tied into my theory. Look, obviously.
Now, my question for you is, sorry, real quick before you get to your point, is this how you want to bring in CM Punk? Let's say hypothetically this is him. Is this how you want to bring in CM Punk as this mystery hacker who's stalking people? And by the looks of SmackDown, it's mostly been women, so this has been kind of perverted stalking. And what's to say this isn't a woman? Who's to say this voice could? It's a voice modification. It could be a woman speaking with that voice coming out. There's no point. There's no rhyme or reason that says this is a man here.
So you pose a very good argument or theory, however you'd like to word it, on his targets, what his intentions seem to be, hit or hers. You know, as far as the whole CM Punk thing, you know, I took into account the whole association with SmackDown, you know, because I think CM Punk going to Raw is foolish. They'll never let it happen. Fox will be all over that, especially because he's also
he's a Fox employee. Yeah, he would never go. Yeah, they wouldn't put him on Raw.
You know, so I mean, I see him poking his head in once in a while, get a cheap pop. This is all saying if he came back. I see him poking his head on Raw if they need a cheap pop, if they're in a crowd, you know, they get a rough crowd in a rough city.
You know, I'll get into that later, the whole interpromotional thing. We got to talk about that after this, but yeah, keep going.
You know, I think Fox would definitely have to do a lot of the supporting, but I'm almost kind of contradicting myself on this one. But if Fox is going to do the supporting to get CM Punk on the roster, even if it's for $12 million and 1 cent, why were they not able to fund to keep producers and writers and SmackDown talent that was let go of too?
You can't get rid of all these people just to hire CM Punk. That doesn't.
And that would rub a lot of people the wrong way.
And so, not even us, Ty. Forget me and you. Like in the business, like the people that in that locker room. Like, what the hell are you doing here? My best friends were just fired.
He would easily become one of the most hated people in professional wrestling.
Yeah. So, just go back and maybe this is CM Punk. Did you see on Money Bank all those TV screens and everything they have? I mean, that guy, either he really loves football or he's really into this gimmick. But that looks, you know, Fox can provide all those TVs. Maybe he's like a spy from Fox. I don't know. Maybe Fox is just there's ways to keep Punk. Like I said, is this re-debut Punk worthy, or do you want, like, let's say the countdown to the millennium? Like that was a great one, you know, a great intro, and even when he came back to save us Y2J. Or do you just want him to be a surprise entrance in the Rumble? Or you just want him to just pop out of the crowd and beat up Triple H? You know, like I'm assuming that's who's going to beat up first.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not my ideal way to have CM Punk come back to a TV, but I kind of fight with it as someone who's trying to do a podcast and someone who's also a fan, because I'll just take it. They can bring him, they can push him down to the ring in a hot dog cart for all I care at this point. I just want him back. But at the same time, it's at the end of the day, they do have to do it the proper way. I think, you know, it's weird because it's like when WWE really, and look, social media has killed secrets. Nothing is a secret anymore. You know, the day of Money in the Bank, you know, they're doing their last minute entrance rehearsals. You got somebody in the hotel across the street who was taking pictures of the screen, and you could see MVP's Titantron on the screen. You could see, you know, all their surprise entrants. Ironically enough, the only one they didn't test that day was Edge. Go figure. But my point is, you can't keep anything a secret. But when WWE wants to keep a secret and wants to keep things quiet, perfect example, Money in the Bank and WrestleMania, things stay quiet.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if this is something that's been done for a little while and he's getting back into ring shape. But, you know, at the same time, you know, it's pretty easy to find WWE's payroll and their official documentation online. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that. It's actually pretty easy. Someone would have found him eventually on the payroll. Yeah, it's fun to do when you're trying to like compare who's getting paid too much and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not my ideal way to get him back on TV, but there's only so many options of who this mystery hacker could really be.
I have 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I have my 4 picks of who I think this mystery hacker is. And the problem I have with my 4 picks is that nobody's gonna like it.
Okay, I'm all ears.
All right. Two people noticeably missing from SmackDown recently, other than not named Mustafa Ali, Chad Gable, or Xavier Woods. Where's Bobby Roode been?
Okay.
Bobby Roode's a suspect. No one's talking about.
Okay.
How does this one? And I would actually. Here's my. I kind of hope this him because I think this would be really good for him because he is a conniving little bastard. I can see him. Bo Dallas. Why keep him around? Why fire Curtis Astle and Heath Slater and all of his buddies? I know his brother's on the roster, but you know what, family? They fired somebody's husband. Lana, they fired her real life husband. There's no reason why they keep Bo Dallas around unless they're doing this with him. So I'm kind of hoping it's Bo Dallas. Or if you want to do 2 NXT call-ups. Now, I might not be saying this correctly, but Fandango? I didn't say it correctly.
No, you didn't, so he's not going to wrestle.
No.
No, you're right.
I don't think it's Fandango, but I think he got hurt again. He's got to come back soon, right?
No, he just came back recently, I thought.
Yeah, he got hurt again. Yeah, he came back with Tyler Breeze. Yeah, he got hurt again. Then they moved Tyler Breeze to 205, and yeah, it was Fandango's. I think he got hurt again.
Nice.
And then we're missing the obvious one here, Ty. Where's Mansoor?
Getting ready for the next Super Showdown.
That's what I know. I know that's all he trains for. Where it's it's 2 matches a year in Saudi. But you know what? Mansoor.
Yeah. So yeah, no, your 4 picks are definitely not far off. I think your most believable.
People will be so pissed if Mansoor is a freaking mystery actor.
Well, he doesn't have to be worried about He doesn't have to worry about being booed. That's a plus.
No, he doesn't.
I think of the 4, Bobby Roode's probably your most realistic. And the whole targeting women thing with him kind of makes sense because he's.
Yeah, but you look at if the person that they're going to use, if the person that they're going to give this gimmick to is the actual person in the chair, and needless to say, the reason why I'm saying that years ago when they first did the brand split and La Luchadora was going around helping Alexa Bliss, that wasn't Mickie James until the end, until that last running and she pulled the mask off and it was Mickie James. I don't think it was Mickie James before that. So this could be anybody sitting in that chair. Now, like I said, if you make Xavier Woods this person, well, they're purposely putting the guy's hand up to press a button. So they're going to look very silly if they did that. But it doesn't look like Bobby Roode's stature. Bobby Roode, this guy looks thick. He almost looks like Mustafa Ali's like a thin cruiserweight. And I think that's where we're getting at. And then the circles, a lot of people are comparing the circles that are on the screen to that thing that he wears on his Sub-Zero and on the mask or whatever, the lights that he has on his. So I can see how people are thinking this is Mustafa Ali, but I think A, that's just too obvious, and B, like I said, the hand is rice colored. It's white on rice colored.
Yeah, maybe they're filming those. They're filming those segments with just a dummy character in a sweatshirt.
Yeah, you never know. I don't know. All right, Ty. It's our favorite part of the show. We're gonna pick a couple of these matches, and we touched on a few of them. We're gonna go over tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we got the NXT Tag Team Championship. The Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher against Imperium. I like Imperium.
I do too.
How did they stay stateside in all this? Everyone else is stuck overseas. Like how did Pete Dunne get stuck overseas, but these two get stuck here?
I'd have to assume they were already here.
Well, so was Pete Dunne. Why did Pete Dunne go home?
I have no idea. I don't know. Does he have like a small child that he doesn't want to worry about bringing anything home to? Or
I have absolutely no idea.
Because I know, obviously, Roman Reigns did speak this week. Despite being immunocompromised, he doesn't want to take a risk with his daughters. So I know that's playing a factor with a lot of people.
Yeah, and his wife's pregnant.
The rest of the world, yeah.
Yeah, and his wife's pregnant again, so it's
Yeah.
I mean,
So, yeah, I'm not sure how he gets tied into all that, or how he's the odd man out. I'm picking Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher, but
I think I don't think they'll do it. I would love to see Imperium eventually the tag champs. I'd like to see them as UK tag champs first, to be honest. I don't want them. I
yeah,
know that they're still on pause as far as I know, they're still on pause over there.
yeah. I've been checking periodically. I'm not seeing anything new, so I'm assuming they're just not working.
That's a shame because NXT UK is really good. I can't wait till we start talking about them. And like I said, I have I got a guy overseas. I got my UK expert. I'd love to have on the show one day.
Perfect.
So hopefully we talk some NXT UK. Hopefully come October, because Takeover Dublin is rescheduled for October 25th, and I'm kind of hoping that's where we're going to get our cruiserweight title unification match, and giving Jordan Devlin home field advantage against Kushida. How awesome would that be? Oh.
That's gonna be a sick match.
All right, so then we got that's going to be on NXT. We had all the matches we talked about. The one match I really want to pick, Ty, for AEW, I think Brody Lee over Daniels. I think we'll do that.
Yep. I'll take that.
There is a fatal 4-way women's match. Now, Ty, I don't know if you know me. We'll make this abundantly clear. I think I like the women's wrestling more than the men's here. Like, I am probably the athletic supporter of women's wrestling. If you get that joke, athletic supporter for women's wrestling. I think this is going to be an amazing match, and it'll set up, now that Nyla Rose is back, it'll set up probably a nice lead into the winner of this, probably getting the title shot at Double or Nothing. So you got Akira Shida, you got Brie Baker, you got Chris Statlander, and Penelope Ford. Hikaru Shida is currently the #1 contender, and she is on a roll. That's who I'm going with.
That's who I have to take also.
I know Britt Baker has a very good gimmick going right now.
Yeah.
We like Britt Baker, baby. But I think this is gonna set up Nyla Rose and Shida for Double or Nothing. So I think that's Shida stayed when Nyla Rose didn't. I don't know if you want to punish her for that, but that's gonna be that's the match they've been building towards in the women's division for a while now. But Nyla Rose just wasn't around, so
it's kind of hard to punish her for that, though. I mean,
no, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to.
You can't.
And then we got Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy against Santana and Ortiz. Have you ever picked a winner for that?
We didn't, but I'm gonna take Santana and Ortiz.
I'm going to go with Kenny and Matt on this one by disqualification, because I just got to think that the Inner Circle is just going to jump them at some point.
Okay.
But another 15-star match from Kenny Omega. God knows we can't have anything less than 15 stars out of Kenny Omega. All right, then on SmackDown, Charlotte Flair is going to be on SmackDown. And I guess we can cross this over real quick onto Raw next week, when Baron Corbin's going to go to Raw to fight Drew McIntyre in a non-title match. But we're starting interpromotional matches again. The wild card, they're not calling it the wild card route, which is smart. I forget what they're calling it, but are we at this point right now? They just brought back a ton of people, and they still feel the need to cross over. Why not do a shuffle? They never did the shuffle after Mania.
Well, the shuffle after Mania usually is until mid-June anyway, so they have time.
No, it's usually the week after, 2 weeks after Mania.
No, last year was in June.
They had a draft last June. They killed the wild card rule and redrafted everybody.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did the they did the draft.
Usually it's first shakeup. 2 weeks they had the shows after Mania, which leads into the shakeup, and then they start the new season from there, so to speak.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised they haven't done their shakeup. I think it's kind of almost irrelevant right now. Yeah, like it's just one of those things where it doesn't make total sense.
Well, if the reason why they're doing this is for ratings, crossover matches brings ratings, which I don't know if that's true or not. But if they're worried about ratings, then a shakeup show.
Yeah, I mean,
or do the lottery, or do what they used to do. Have one guy, have somebody pull out like 3 balls from Raw, then 3 balls from, and then those guys switch. Remember when it was Paul Heyman picked John Cena? Like that was huge. That was like 2000, like what, 5, 6, something, whatever. And the brand switch champions when Batista went one way and Cena went the other or something like that.
That was 05, yeah. And then Eric Bischoff drafted Paul Heyman like 4 years before that.
That's right. Bischoff drafted Heyman. He picked a ping pong ball with his name. Heyman was so pissed.
I mean, you know, I know that the roster is pretty limited right now as far as who they can get, who they can't get, and who's even willing to be there. So I understand crossing over a little bit.
There's enough to fill shows, though. There's enough for new.
It's like there's enough to fill shows.
So
yeah.
Why not just do a quick shakeup just to get new feuds? If you can't, you know, obviously you can't throw, as much as I've been enjoying them, you can't throw McIntyre and Andrade out against each other every week. But that's.
No, I mean, I think they're trying to avoid things getting stale right now, which I understand, but they don't need to start cross branding or interpromotional matches. They don't. It's not necessary.
Yeah. So Charlotte Flair's the only thing we know is about SmackDown on Friday. Is Charlotte Flair is appearing. So she's trying to hit all 3 shows in 1 week. I know she wasn't on Raw last week, but she's usually on Raw because she is a Raw superstar technically. She's a champion at NXT, so she's going to show up on Wednesdays, and now she's going to be on Fox Fridays, SmackDown.
Yeah.
And Miz will be interviewing Otis, our new Money in the Bank winner. So that's all we know about SmackDown. No matches to pick there. But next Monday, Ty.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
Next Monday.
I was waiting.
Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are going to be defending the women's tag team titles against the returning Iconics.
I was waiting for it.
Out of my chair last night, Ty. I was excited.
I didn't see that one coming.
I didn't either.
You know, especially, you know, I know we avoid rumors here, but I didn't even see anything about it online. Like I didn't even know they were in the area.
Well,
so
I knew,
it was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, well, I didn't know where Billy was. Peyton and Dillinger have been posting workout videos on Instagram, so I know that. Or I'm sorry, Sean Spears. Peyton and Spears have been doing workout videos together, so I've been seeing that every once in a while, a few times on my Instagram. But I knew she was in the area. They live in Florida. I didn't know where Billy was. I thought maybe that was the reason why, but they are back. We have new champs. I'm calling new champs, Ty.
Yeah, I mean,
all heart, no thought right here. All heart, no thought. Give me the Iconics.
Yeah, I'm going to go Iconics too. I think it's just you can't. They needed it. Like they needed to come back. I'm happy they're back, and it just brings back another solid tag team to the women's tag division.
Yeah, that's neat. And now you're taking the Kabuki Walker Warriors out of it.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if this was one of those things where they waited till they could go back again to having crowds in the arena. They wait to give the Iconics the tag titles back and give them a much, much needed, very loud.
I don't think people are waiting for an Iconics. I think me and you were the only two that are waiting for this.
No, people love the Iconics. Come on.
All right. Anything else you want to throw in there, Ty? I believe all of my notes are present and accounted for.
Yeah, I mean, other than just getting ready for next week's show, we'll recap SmackDown. We'll touch back up on Raw, NXT, AEW. Obviously, we're going to look ahead and make our pick'ems for Double or Nothing Saturday night. Wrestling is exciting right now. Wrestling is not only exciting right now. It's essential.
It is essential, and we are essential.
We are essential. Essential Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you, Florida.
With everything else on the Eastern Observer Network, this Friday, be sure to check out the episode number 12 of the Primetime Rundown with myself and Nick Partain. Thursday, May 14th, the Zoom interview series with our man Joe Jarzinko returns as he interviews Baltimore Orioles pitching prospect Kevin McGee at 6 p.m. right here on our YouTube channel. Also, episode number 26 of the Primetime Rundown will be next week, May 22nd. Yes, May 22nd. Both of our Primetime Rundown shows are from 6 to 8 every Friday night, excuse me. This Friday, like I said, will be just me, myself, and Nick Partain. Joey will be absent. I finally took away his job.
Nice.
I told you I'd get it done.
Sheriff. That's why you're the sheriff of that show.
I'm a sheriff everywhere. Other than that, Al, what do you got?
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We wish you luck in your future endeavors. Thanks, John.